All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Haloyam Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakal Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, I have some new articles here for you that I want to get into and read to let you know what's happening and what's going on, man, because prophecy is moving and things are happening very fast, man. All right, things are falling into place. Prophecy is all falling into place very, very fast. I had these 3 articles right here. As you see, you know, one of them I lost, it didn't load anymore. All right, so I got these 2 that I want to read for you because I don't have internet connection right now. It was loaded, but then it stopped. It just went away. But anyway, let's just get into these articles right here. You got Russia joins Chinese Iranian warship for drills off South Africa, and then you got this other article here. All right, North Korea launches ballistic missiles toward the sea before South Koreans leaders visit to China. All right, so you got people launching, you got North Korea launching, doing ballistic missile drills, and then you have Russia joins Chinese, all right, and Iranian warships for drills off South Africa. So you got Russia, Chinese, and Iran doing warship drills right now. So all these nations are gearing up. They're doing military drills. All right. The Lord is gathering these nations together because it's the Lord that said he's going to gather the nations together, man, for this third world war. All right. So let's read into it, man. It says Russia joins Chinese Iranian warships for drills off South Africa. It says a Russian warship arrived, and this is coming what? January 9th. What's today? All right, January 11th. This is 2 days ago. All right, January 9th, 2026. All right, a Russian warship arrived off South Africa's main naval base Friday to join Chinese and Iranian vessels for military exercises that risk further damaging Pretoria's relations with Washington. All right, the exercises draw together. Yeah, it's the Lord that's creating these tensions, man. All right, the exercises draw together several nations, all right, feuding with the U.S. administration, and come at a time of heightened tensions following Washington's raid of Venezuela. All right, and now you got Washington, the U.S. that wants to raid Greenland. All right, a Chinese destroyer and replenishment ship, as well as an Iranian forward base vessel, sailed into South African waters earlier this week ahead of the week-long maneuvers due to kick off at the weekend. AFP journalists near the Simonstown base saw the Russian flag corvette vessel pulled into False Bay. The China-led Will for Peace 2026 drill involves Navy. See, like the scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them, and they shall not be able to escape. That's all you hear about too. Peace talks and peace this and peace that. That's part of prophecy, man. How is peace coming when the Lord is escalating these tensions between the nations, and all these nations are gearing up, doing all types of military drills, warship drills, missile drills? Tensions are going crazy. Global tensions. That's why the scriptures say, when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them, and they shall not be able to escape. Man, this is the China-led Will for Peace 2026 drill involves navies from the 11 nations BRICS group of emerging economies, which U.S. President Donald Trump has labeled anti-American. And that's what it basically is, man. These other nations are trying to get away from the dollar. All right? They're not trying to deal with America no more. All right? The United Arab Emirates, all right, was also expected to send ships. South Africa's Deputy Defense Minister Bantu Halomisa told Newsroom Africa Television late Thursday fellow BRICS nations in Indonesia, Ethiopia, and Brazil will send observers, he said. The remaining members of the grouping are India, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia. The exercises will allow the navies to exchange best practices and improve joint operational capabilities, which contributes to the safety of shipping routes and overall regional maritime stability, South Africa's defense force said. All right, now you got these global tensions. It says, asked about the timing of the drill, Halomisa said this exercise was planned long before these tensions we are witnessing today. But listen, come on, man. You got to understand how the Lord just sets everything up, though. All right, they were initially scheduled for November 2025, but postponed because they clashed with the G20 summit in Johannesburg. All right, at odds with South Africa over a range of international issues, the United States boycotted the summit. Let's continue reading. It says it also expelled the South African ambassador last year and imposed 30% trade tariffs. Washington this week seized a Russian flag oil tanker it said was part of a shadow fleet carrying oil for countries such as Venezuela, Russia, and Iran. It has threatened action against Iran should protesters be killed in mounting. All right, yeah, because that was another article that actually happened to be this article that I can't get into no more. All right, where was I at? Yeah, all right. Donald Trump has threatened action against Iran. All right, should Iran kill the protesters? All right, and then Iran came back. Listen, if you attack us, we gonna retaliate, bro. Listen, bro. Once America goes into Iran, or Iran goes into Israel, or Israel goes into dog, listen. Listen, all right? Going to get real stupid out here. All right? It says it has threatened action against Iran should protesters be killed in mounting demonstrations sparked by anger over the rising cost of living. The joint drills have nothing to do with Venezuela whatsoever, a South African Defense Ministry spokesman told AFP. Let us not press panic buttons because the USA has got a problem with countries, Halomisa said. These are not our enemies. Let us focus on cooperating with BRICS countries and make sure that our seas, especially the Indian Ocean and Atlantic, they are safe, he said. All right, so you see what's going on, man. You can read the rest of this article for yourself. All right, but I also have this, all right, from The Guardian. All right, this is January 3rd, all right, 2026. All right, North Korea launches ballistic missiles towards sea before South Korean leaders visit to China. And South Korea and North Korea are enemies, man. All right, South Korea's military reports projectile launch hours before Lee Jae-myung, all right, was due to head to Beijing. All right, North Korea launched ballistic missiles toward the sea on Sunday, its neighbor said, just hours before South Korea's president was due to leave for talks in China, expected to cover North Korea's nuclear program. All right, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said in a statement that they detected several ballistic missile launches from North Korea's capital region at about 7:50 a.m. local time. They said the missiles flew about 506 miles and that South Korea and U.S. authorities were analyzing details of the launch. The Joint Chief of Staff said South Korea maintained a readiness to repel any provocations by North Korea and was closely exchanging information with the U.S. and Japan on North Korea's missile launches. All right. Excuse me if you hear a lot of wind because I'm outside. All right. But anyway, it says the missiles flew approximately 900 kilometers. 900 kilometers, the military said, adding that South Korea and the U.S. Were closely analyzing specifications while maintaining a full readiness posture. All right, the National Security Council in Seoul convened an emergency meeting after the launch, which a presidential office statement said constitutes a provocative act in violation of UN Security Council resolutions. Japan's defense ministry also said it had detected a possible ballistic missile, noting that 2 missiles reached an altitude of 50,000 meters and flew distances of 506 miles and 590 miles, respectively. All right, North Korea's nuclear and missile development threatens the peace and stability of our country and the international society. All right, and is absolutely intolerable, Japan's defense minister, all right, Shinjiro Koizumi told reporters. All right, it's Pyongyang's, all right, first ballistic missile launch since November, when it staged a test after the U.S. President Donald Trump approved South Korea's plan to build a nuclear-powered submarine. Yeah, so he all upset and mad, all right? But listen, man, all right, listen. North Korea, all right, Kim Jong-un, listen, he hates he hates America with a great, fierce, and vehement passion. He can't wait to shoot missiles over here, man. He can't wait. All right, because he's another one that hates Esau Edom. All right, you know, where am I at? It says one analyst told Trump's military operation against Venezuela on Saturday probably played a role in the decision to launch. Pyongyang has for decades argued it needs its nuclear and missile programs as a deterrent against alleged regime change efforts by Washington. All right. The U.S. has offered Pyongyang repeatedly assurances that it has no such plans. Hong Min, an analysis at the Korea Institute for National Unification, said they likely fear that if the United States so chooses, it could launch a precision strike at any moment, threatening the regime's survival. All right, the test came just hours before South Korea President Lee Jae-myung was due to depart for Beijing for talks with his counterpart Xi Jinping, all right, whose government is a key economic backer of North Korea. All right, whose government is a key economic backer for North Korea. Lee hopes to harness China's clout over North Korea to support his attempt to improve ties with Pyongyang. All right, Pyongyang is to hold a landmark Congress of its ruling party in the coming weeks. Its first in 5 years. All right, so you see what's happening, man. All right, it says before that meeting, the country's leader Kim Jong-un ordered the expansion and modernization of the country's missile production and the construction of more factories to meet growing demand. State media reported on Sunday that Kim had visited a facility involved in making tactical guided weapons. All right, so bro, all these other nations, they just war hungry, man. All right, he ordered them to expand current production capacity by 250%, the state-run Korean Central News Agency said. All right, so, I hope this, lesson was edifying. Well, not really lesson, but, you know, to keep you in the know what's going on, to let you know what time we're living in. Prophecy watch, man. All right, we're in that time where nuclear missiles are pretty soon going to be shot off. The microchip is going to be ushered in and made mandatory. All hell and chaos and pain and misery and suffering and mourning and anguish is getting ready to come upon this earth, especially here in America. All right. So with that being said, you know, Lord willing, all right, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, this was edifying. All right. Call halal yum Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakar Quick Dash. All right, on to the next one. Shalom, shalom.